You're still watching Market Edge. Trading at the Philippine Stock Exchange officially gets underway. Philippine shares supercharged 1.2% yesterday to close at 63.90. The Bangko Sentral kept its key rate unchanged at a near 17-year high of 6.5% as expected, while reaffirming its commitment to defend the peso from extreme volatility. Joining us this morning for more in the markets is Unicapital Securities' Gabryle Aguila. Gabriel, good morning. Welcome back to Market Edge. Good to see you.
Hi, good to see you again.
So, good news from the BSP. Did you like what you heard?
Okay, if we break down how the BSP went yesterday, one thing that we truly find positive is that they've reduced their inflation estimate for 2024, risk-adjusted inflation forecast, from 3.8% to 3.1%. That is giving a lot of confidence on the trajectory of inflation, especially as we went through a first half that was quite uncertain in terms of where inflation was going to go with how El Nino was affecting us. When it comes to policy rates, of course, we expected it to remain unchanged. What we are looking into right now is the potential of rate cuts. So the latest guidance that we've interpreted from the BSP is that they're now looking to a potential as much as 50 basis points for the year, with one cut doubling down on their August view and another one moving into the fourth quarter of 2024. We are a little bit concerned on the potential on its potential to impact our FX rate, given that now that the U.S. Fed has trimmed down their forecast from 3 rate cuts down to 1 rate cut, the interest rate differential may have the potential of narrowing further, especially as the U.S. rate cut is also hinged on their inflation outcomes. But still, the BSP does give a little bit of assurance in that they will continue to defend the peso of any volatility.
So, Gabriel, this is good for the markets. I mean, what will a 50 basis point rate cut by the BSP, maybe even ahead of the Fed, what will that mean for the stock market locally?
For the stock market, we think it will weigh on investor interest. So if we look at the market right now, it's trading a little bit flat. I think investors are still continuing to digest it. What we were potentially looking forward to was that the BSP would move in step with the U.S. Fed, so that we won't have much of an issue on interest rate differentials or weaker peso that would lead to diminishing returns for foreign investors. But if we look again on the fundamental side, a rate cut will help spur growth. And of course, that will be positive to our valuations as well. So I think moving forward, from our standpoint, it's a little bit more of a timing issue, more than if they're doing the right thing or not.
A timing issue more than whether they're doing the right thing or not. So given everything that you just talked about, your concern about the peso volatility and that rate differential narrowing between the Philippines and the U.S., what do you think is the fair market value for the PSEi, and where do you see the index by the end of this year? Are you now repricing the market?
Yeah, so when we started our year with a good amount of optimism, we were looking at 7,200 points. Right now, there's a little bit of a tilt to the downside, but the factor is it's hinged on a lot of outcomes, on the month-to-month outcomes we've been experiencing for the past 12 months now based on inflation forecast. As of now, if we factor in the potential GDP growth, there's not much change to what we think is the fair value of the PSEi at the moment in terms of its earnings per share. What we may see is a little bit of investor hesitance, especially if we see the peso start to weaken towards the 59 levels.
Gabriel, just wanted to bring you the opening numbers, the PSEi in the first 4 minutes of trade for the day, the final trading day. It's actually trading flat to the upside, slight tilt to the upside. It's up by 1 point. 63.91. Now the number to beat to be able to post a weekly gain after what? 2 straight weeks of weekly losses is 61.58. Looks like it's going to be an easy beat. So it looks like we are on track for a weekly gain. Again, we're opening at 63.91, a touch below 6,400, but we might be beating last week's finish of 61.58. As for the peso, let me bring you the opening of the peso. Let's see. But anyway, the peso, we're at 18-month lows. The BSP defended it from falling to a further 20-month low yesterday. Where do you see the peso for the rest of the year?
Well, I think at the moment, even with the BSP's update to our policy rate outlook for the year, I think any weakness going towards 59 would most likely be catalyzed by a bigger timing difference between the U.S. Fed and the BSP. And that would be hinged on if the U.S. Fed determines that inflation is still sticky or inflation trend shift in the U.S. But for us, we are looking towards, on the bear case, we are looking towards around the high 59 level.
Oh, wow.
But on the other end, if we do see FX market stabilize and the U.S. Fed prospects of their rate cut stay in line towards the year, we may see it strengthen back up again to around high 57 levels at the very least.
All right. Speaking of the peso, we actually opened a little bit more firmed up, 58.70 against the U.S. dollar from yesterday's close of 58.75. It's pretty quiet, you know, on the disclosures front. Not much stories going on considering the earnings season has wrapped up. Let me just check one more time. What stories we have for you today. Oh, it's pretty quiet. Mostly cash dividend stories, statement of beneficial ownership. I think we're now ready for your blind item, Gabriel. So let's start with that. What do you have for us? This is a stock that you like, right?
Yes.
Go ahead.
All right. So this is a company that we've tracked for quite a while, since around the start of the year. And as you can see here, it's kind of gone quite high over the past few months. And this is, in our view, backed up by fundamentals. It's part of the gaming sector. It, in 2022, had the digital transformation phase as its physical business line started to struggle. And they were, as you can see, they're quite successful in having that digital transformation. And it helped gain more traction and produce more revenues for the company. Even at these high levels, our fair value for it is at around 18.56 pesos per share, still showing around 36.2% upside over the next 12 months.
All right. On that note, thank you very much. We're just going to have to guess which stock this is. Gabriel, always a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you so much for the insights and the time. We'll see you soon, hopefully under better market conditions.
Yes, of course. Have a good morning.
All right. Have a good weekend. Now,